The unexpected connection. The fluorescent lights of City General Hospital buzzed overhead as Nisha Kapoor hurried through the corridor, clipboard pressed against her chest. As the hospital's administrative director, she'd mastered the art of solving 3 problems simultaneously while walking. Today was particularly challenging. Budget cuts loomed while patient admissions surged. "Miss Kapoor, the foundation representatives are waiting in the conference room," her assistant Priya called out, jogging to catch up with her. "The Malhotra Foundation people. They've been here 15 minutes. Nisha suppressed a groan. "Another wealthy group looking for tax deductions through superficial charity work. Tell them I'll be there in 5. And Priya, bring me the latest patient satisfaction reports. I want them to see what real healthcare challenges look like." When Nisha entered the conference room, she expected the usual stuffy executives in expensive suits making empty promises. Instead, she found a man in rolled-up sleeves studying the hospital's floor plans intently. He looked up, and Nisha was struck by eyes that seemed more curious than commanding. "Miss Kapoor," he extended his hand. "I'm Vihan Malhotra. Sorry for staring at your blueprints without permission. I was trying to understand your spatial constraints." Nisha shook his hand firmly. "Most donors are more interested in where their names will appear on buildings, not how the buildings function." A small smile played at his lips. "I'm not most donors, and I'd prefer no names on anything." Over the next hour, Vihan surprised her with thoughtful questions about patient care bottlenecks and staffing challenges. He listened more than he spoke, a rarity in Nisha's experience with wealthy benefactors. "Your pediatric ward is operating at 120% capacity," he noted. "What would help most immediately, besides unlimited funding?" Nisha allowed herself a small joke. "We need equipment that works consistently and nursing staff who aren't burning out." Vihan nodded. "May I visit the ward?" What followed was unexpected. Rather than a ceremonial walkthrough, Vihan spent hours observing. He chatted with nurses about equipment failures and spoke with parents about wait times. When a child's monitoring equipment malfunctioned, he dropped to his knees to examine it, suggesting a temporary fix until replacement parts arrived. "You know hospital equipment?" Nisha asked, genuinely surprised. "My first startup was medical tech," he replied without looking up from the monitor, "before the software companies that made headlines." Over the following weeks, Vihan became a regular presence. He arrived without entourage or fanfare, sometimes bringing coffee for the night shift or lunch for overworked staff. Nisha found herself looking forward to his visits, though she kept her professional distance. "You're different from what I expected," she admitted one evening as they reviewed renovation plans. "Different good or different concerning?" His eyes held genuine curiosity. "Just different," Nisha replied, feeling uncharacteristically flustered. "Most people in your position want quick results and photo ops." "I'm not interested in appearing helpful," Vihan said quietly. "I'd rather actually be helpful." Something shifted in Nisha's chest, a dangerous warmth she couldn't afford. She'd been burned before by charming men with practiced words, yet something about Vihan's consistent presence, his focus on solutions rather than self-promotion, made her wonder if perhaps he was sincere. But experience had taught Nisha that people with power eventually revealed their true intentions, and she wasn't about to let her guard down, no matter how genuinely different Vihan seemed to be. Walls of doubt. 3 months into the Malhotra Foundation's partnership with City General, Nisha found herself struggling with unfamiliar emotions. Vihan had become a fixture at the hospital not as a figurehead, but as a genuine contributor. The pediatric ward renovations were ahead of schedule, and the new staff training programs he'd funded were showing promising results. "Your billionaire was asking about you again," Dr. Sharma commented during their weekly department meeting, a knowing smile on her face. "He's not my billionaire," Nisha responded sharply, "and the foundation's work here is strictly professional." "Professional doesn't explain the coffee he brings you every Tuesday with your name spelled correctly on the cup," Dr. Sharma countered, "or how he remembers everyone's children's names." Nisha changed the subject, but the conversation left her unsettled. She'd noticed the subtle shifts to how Vihan sought her opinion first in meetings, the way his eyes found hers across crowded rooms, the thoughtful questions about her background and aspirations. Dangerous territory. Later that week, they worked late reviewing hospital data. The administrative office was quiet, just the two of them surrounded by spreadsheets and empty takeout containers. "Your commitment to this place is remarkable," Vihan said. Breaking their comfortable silence, Nisha shrugged. "It's my job. It's more than that." His voice was soft but certain. "You care personally about everyone who walks through those doors." "Someone has to," she replied, uncomfortable with his observation. "That's what drew me to you initially," Vihan admitted. "In our first meeting, you were the only person more concerned with patient outcomes than impressing the potential donor." The word "drew" hung between them, loaded with implication. Nisha felt her defenses rise. "Mr. Malhotra, Vihan, please." After all these months, Vihan, she corrected herself. "I think we should maintain clear boundaries. Your foundation's work here is valuable, but I'm not part of the package." His expression shifted from warmth to confusion. "I've never suggested you were. You didn't have to." Nisha stood, gathering her papers. "I've seen this before: wealthy men who enjoy the challenge of pursuing women who aren't immediately impressed by their status." Vihan's face fell. Is that what you think this is? What else would it be? She challenged. We come from entirely different worlds. That's exactly why he began, then stopped himself. Nisha, I've never seen you as a challenge or a diversion. I admire you. There's a difference. The hospital charity gala the following weekend became the breaking point. Nisha attended as required by her position, uncomfortable and formal wear among the city's elite. She was discussing ventilator needs with a potential donor when Vihan approached, handsome in a tailored suit. Miss Kapoor, could I speak with you privately about the pediatric expansion? The older donor winked knowingly. Don't let me stand in the way of young love. It's not, Nisha began, feeling heat rise in her cheeks. We're colleagues, Vihan clarified firmly, but the damage was done. When they stepped aside, Nisha's frustration boiled over. This is exactly what I was afraid of. Now everyone will assume I'm sleeping my way into foundation funding. I never intended. Your intentions don't matter. She interrupted, louder than intended. Several nearby conversations stopped. I've worked too hard to become hospital gossip. Whatever you think is happening between us isn't. I'm not interested in being another story people tell about how you charmed the ordinary girl. She walked away, aware of the stares following her. By Monday, whispers filled the hospital corridors. The staff who had previously respected her now exchanged knowing glances when she passed. Worst were the pitying looks. Poor, deluded Nisha, thinking the billionaire was actually interested, humiliated and angry. Nisha did what seemed necessary. She requested all future foundation communication go through her deputy director. She built her walls higher, convinced she'd narrowly escaped becoming just another conquest for a man who could have anything or anyone he wanted. Yet sometimes, late at night, she found herself remembering the hurt in Vihan's eyes, not the wounded pride she expected, but something deeper that looked strangely like genuine loss. Silent gaudy end. Wali was supposed to be a celebration of light conquering darkness, but for Nisha this year brought only shadows. Her mother's chronic kidney condition had deteriorated rapidly, requiring specialized treatment the family couldn't afford. Sitting in the dimly lit hospital cafeteria at different hospital where she was and no, Nisha stared at treatment cost estimates that exceeded her savings by thousands. We can liquidate the fixed deposit, her brother Rohan suggested, his voice strained with worry, and maybe take a loan against your apartment. It's not just the surgery, Nisha replied, rubbing her temples. It's the specialized care afterward, the medications, ... She didn't finish the sentence. They both knew the impossibility of their situation. For weeks, Nisha had maintained a careful professional distance from Vihan, communicating only through terse emails about foundation matters. She'd caught glimpses of him in hospital corridors, but he respected her boundaries, never approaching. If he looked tired and less polished than before, she told herself it wasn't her concern. The following Monday, Nisha requested emergency family leave, something she'd never done in 8 years at City General. Dr. Sharma approved it immediately but seemed oddly uncertain. Take all the time you need, she said, studying Nisha with an unreadable expression. Your mother's in good hands at Lifespring Medical. How did you know where she was? Nisha asked, certain she hadn't shared those details. Dr. Sharma hesitated. I have colleagues there. Word gets around. Something felt off, but Nisha had no energy for hospital politics. Her mother needed her full attention. At Lifespring Medical, an exclusive private hospital, usually reserved for the wealthy, strange inconsistencies continued. When Nisha arrived to discuss payment plans, the billing department had no record of outstanding balances. The specialist nephrologist, Dr. Bajaj, one of the country's foremost kidney experts, was somehow assigned to her mother's case. There must be a mistake, Nisha insisted to the administrative staff. We haven't arranged for Dr. Bajaj's consultation. No mistake, the receptionist replied with a smile. Your mother's case has been flagged for comprehensive care under our community health initiative. What initiative? I've never heard of this program. The woman's smile faltered slightly. It's relatively new, for exceptional cases. As her mother underwent treatment, more unexplained coincidences accumulated. A private room became available. Experimental medications normally costing thousands appeared without charge. When Nisha's mother mentioned wanting home-cooked food, hospital staff arranged for a microwave and refrigerator in her room, amenities unheard of in standard care. Suspicion growing, Nisha cornered Dr. Bajaj after a consultation. Doctor, please tell me honestly who authorized all this. The physician looked uncomfortable. Ms. Kapoor, I'm bound by confidentiality agreements. This is about my family. I deserve to know. After a moment's hesitation, Dr. Bajaj sighed. All I can say is that someone established a health foundation specifically focused on kidney disease treatments. Your mother's case matches their criteria perfectly. A new kidney foundation, just when my mother needs treatment. Nisha pressed. The paperwork came through about 4 hours after your mother was admitted. He admitted. That's all I know. That night, Nisha connected the dots. Only one person had both the resources and the specific knowledge of her family situation. But how had Vehan known about her mother? She hadn't told anyone at work the details. Her answer came the next morning when the hospital's volunteer coordinator stopped by with fresh flowers. Such a devoted boyfriend you have. The elderly volunteers said cheerfully. He comes every night after you leave, just to make sure your mother has everything she needs, sits with her while she sleeps. Nisha's heart stuttered. My boyfriend, the tall gentleman, very humble despite who he is. He mentioned you two had a misunderstanding, but he still cares deeply. Reads to your mother from her favorite devotional book. Stunned, Nisha waited that evening, hiding in the hospital chapel across from her mother's room. Shortly after 9, Vihan appeared, carrying a small bag. He looked thinner than she remembered, with dark circles under his eyes. He slipped quietly into her mother's room. Through the window, Nisha watched as he adjusted her mother's blankets, checked the monitors with practiced ease, and sat in the visitor's chair opening a book. No cameras recorded him. No assistants accompanied him. Just a man performing acts of care that no one would ever witness or praise. In that moment, something within Nisha cracked open the realization that Vihan wasn't playing a game. He was helping anonymously, expecting nothing in return. Not even her knowledge of his involvement. For the first time in years, tears slid down her face unchecked. She had misjudged him completely. Proving worth. Nisha stood frozen outside her mother's hospital room, watching Vihan through the window. His kindness anonymous, expecting nothing in return, contradicted everything she'd assumed about him. After he left, she approached the night nurse. The gentleman who visits my mother. How long has this been happening? Every night since she was admitted, the nurse replied. He never stays past midnight. Says he doesn't want to disturb anyone. The next day, Nisha returned to City General briefly to collect files. The atmosphere felt different. Staff seemed unusually busy. Administrative offices reorganized. Dr. Sharma spotted her and hurried over. Nisha, how's your mother? Improving daily. The care has been ... exceptional. Nisha hesitated. Dr. Sharma, what's happening here? Everyone seems on edge. The older woman sighed. Vihan Malhotra resigned from the foundation's board 3 weeks ago, transferred control to his sister and sold significant company shares. He what? Why would he do that? He's launching a new healthcare initiative focused on kidney disease treatment and prevention. Started with a massive personal investment. Dr. Sharma studied Nisha's face. You really didn't know? No, Nisha whispered. I had no idea. Later, searching online, Nisha found limited information about Vihan's new venture, the Jyoti Health Initiative. Named after her mother, the program targeted communities like the one Nisha grew up in, where kidney disease went undiagnosed until critical stages. Its first facility was breaking ground near her childhood neighborhood. That evening, Nisha waited in the hospital corridor. When Vihan appeared, he froze upon seeing her. Nisha. Her name sounded like both a question and a prayer on his lips. Why didn't you tell me? She asked softly. His eyes remained steady. Would you have accepted my help if I had? They both knew the answer. You sold your shares, left the foundation. Some things matter more. He looked tired but certain. Your mother's condition isn't rare in underserved communities. One case became clear to me because I knew you, but thousands go unnoticed. So you built an entire healthcare initiative. It was always the direction I wanted to move in, he said simply. Your mother's situation just accelerated the timeline, and visiting her every night, a flush colored his cheeks. She reminds me of my grandmother, and she tells wonderful stories about you as a child. He hesitated. I should go. I don't want to overstep boundaries again. As he turned to leave, Nisha caught his arm. Thank you, not just for my mother, but for seeing a need and actually doing something about it. His smile, small but genuine, stayed with her long after he'd gone. Beyond expectations. 2 months later, with her mother recovered and back home, Nisha found herself driving to the address she'd discreetly obtained from Vihan's assistant. The Jyoti Health Initiative's first community center operated from a renovated building in her old neighborhood. Inside, she followed the sounds of animated voices to a classroom where Vihan sat surrounded by healthcare workers, discussing early detection strategies. He wore simple clothes, no designer suits or expensive watches, and spoke with passionate intensity about preventive care. When he spotted her in the doorway, he stumbled over his words briefly before recovering. Let's take 15 minutes, he told the group, then approached her cautiously. This is quite different from your corporate boardroom, Nisha observed. Much better acoustics, he replied with a small smile. Would you like a tour? The facility was impressive, not in luxury but in thoughtfulness. Equipment chosen for durability, spaces designed for comfort, systems built for efficiency. Most striking was how the staff treated Vihan with respect but without deference. He was clearly one of the team, not its figurehead. You actually work here, Nisha realized aloud. This isn't just a name on a building for you. 4 days a week, he confirmed. The 5th I spend developing similar centers in other neighborhoods. In a quiet moment, standing in the center's garden, Nisha finally asked the question that had brought her here. Why did you never correct me when I accused you of seeing me as some kind of challenge or diversion? Vihan considered his words carefully, because any defense would have sounded hollow. Words are easy, especially for someone with resources. I wanted my actions to speak instead. They have, Nisha admitted. Loudly, I grew up wealthy, he continued, but my grandmother came from a village without clean water, let alone health care. She taught me that true worth isn't in acquisition but in contribution. He paused. When I met you, I recognized someone who understood that inherently. your dedication to your patients, your integrity. It wasn't something you performed for praise. It was simply who you are. And now you've built all this. He shook his head. This isn't about impressing you. Nisha, if you walked away right now and never spoke to me again, I'd still continue this work. It matters. You just helped me see that more clearly. Something settled in Nisha's chest, the final piece of understanding clicking into place. Vihan hadn't changed to win her approval. He'd simply revealed who he truly was all along. I misjudged you, she said softly. I was so certain I knew what men like you wanted. Men like me. Powerful men. I thought wealth and influence were your defining characteristics. She met his eyes. I was wrong. Powerful men. I thought wealth and influence were your defining characteristics. She met his eyes. I was wrong. As evening approached, they walked through the neighborhood together. Children recognized Vihan running up to high-five him. Elderly residents nodded respectfully. He belonged here as much as in any corporate tower. Near an old banyan tree, Nisha stopped. My mother wants to thank you personally. She's cooking dinner this Saturday. She took a breath. I'd like you to come. If you want to. His smile spread slowly, reaching his eyes. I'd be honored. This isn't pity or obligation, Nisha clarified. This is me recognizing that sometimes, very rarely, people are exactly who they appear to be. As they stood beneath the ancient tree, no grand declarations passed between them. No dramatic promises or passionate embraces. Just the quiet acknowledgement that authentic connection happens not through words or wealth, but through consistent actions that reveal a person's true character. Months later, when people asked how their relationship began, neither mentioned foundations or hospitals or billionaire status. They simply said they'd found someone whose actions matched their words. The rarest and most valuable discovery of all, because love, when real, doesn't need to announce itself with fanfare. It proves itself silently, constantly, in the everyday choices that show who someone truly is. Beneath all the layers the world sees. And for Nisha and Vihan that was enough, more than enough. It was everything.